So good afternoon, everyone. In fact, it's been 4 now, so good evening, all of you, and welcome all of you for this Sky High Symposium 49 under the Women and Young Members Excellence Committee. So very happy to have CA Miku Singh. She'll be speaking on the impact on IND-AS 116 on the aviation sector, and of course. The second speaker which we have today is CA Payal Goyal. So she's also joined. So thank you so much, both of you, for sparing your valuable time and making yourself present today for this very important webinar which we have. Also, we have CA Seema, CA Shobhana, CA Kanchan, CA Pooja, of course, and from the office we have Shanu Jaya who's joined. And so welcome all of you on behalf of Women and Young Members Excellence Committee. And I think that's been, last more than a year that we've been having these symposium, very effective symposium, I must say. And, there's so much learning for each woman participants because we have picked up a lot of interesting topics. And of course, the chairperson, CA Preeti Savla, she'll be joining at around 5, I'm told. So she'll also be sharing her experience because she was vice chairperson in the council year 22, and now she's the chairperson in 23. I being the chairman. So, I was saying that a lot of initiatives have been planned for this year. Events have been planned, and of course, with the support of team from the office, from speakers like Madam Miku, Payal, and I am sure we'll have a lot of events also to be planned in future. So just to take you through the very important topic, I think which may be a little technical, but I think I would take it as an important topic and interesting. I'm sure she'll be covering her presentation and making it interesting for all the women's participants. More importantly, the impact of 116 on the aviation sector. How it has to be classified, the right of use of asset, the booking of the assets in the balance sheet, in the profit and loss account, how has to be accounted for, how it has to be measured, classified, disclosure requirements. I'm sure all will be covered by the speaker today. And another important topic, not linked to any technical topic, but very interesting is importance of life skills in the professional world. So I think this is what the initiative of this committee is. When you keep topics, so keep two different topics to make the entire webinar interesting. And I'm sure today, again, with participants, all of you who have been listening and will definitely be benefited with both these speakers' experience, their knowledge, the wisdom they carry. They'll share all their experiences and will definitely each participants would be benefited. And with the team of coordinators, the moderators and office, I'm sure still if there is any questions, I'm sure will be taken up at the end of each session and we'll be happy to respond. So on behalf of Women and Young Members Excellence Committee, I welcome all of you again for this webinar, 49th webinar, which is organized under this committee, and we'll have more such programs being organized. So thank you each one of you for being here today, every participant who's here today. And any support, any matter would like to discuss from the committee, even the CA Shanu who's here, CA Jaya who's here, who's from the office from the committee, will be happy to respond on every issue. So thank you so much for this opportunity. I welcome all of you, and over to Seema. You'll be taking up. So you'll be starting. Who'll be from the who'll start? Shobna.
I am. Yeah.
Okay. So over to Shobna for taking over the proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you, Obay sir. All right. So we are happy to unveil something really very exciting today. I, on behalf of Women and Young Members Excellence Committee of ICAI, welcome you all at Sky High Symposium 49. Sky High Symposium is a Wednesday series of program conducted by Committee of Women and Young Members. It is one of the Women and Young Members Excellent Committee's initiative to not only disseminate information to members on technical updation, but also non-technical skills, and to empower and inspire them to come at forefront and realize their verbal skill at public forum. So I, CA Shobna Rochlani, take this opportunity to introduce our special guest today, CA Miku Singh. Ma'am is having experience of around 1.5 years, previously associated with ENY in profile of financial accounting advisory service. Currently, ma'am is associated with Yokohama of Highways Tires in role of deputy manager in finance and accounts team. She supports and oversee accounting and financial reporting of the tire business. Ma'am is also a fitness freak. So, with a huge round of applause, we welcome you, ma'am, and over to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Shobna, for welcome. So I will first share my screen to you. Can you see my screen?
Yes, it's visible.
So a very good evening to all the viewers present here. Uh, Talking about myself, I would say that I have around 1.5 years of experience in the areas of financial reporting. Currently, I'm associated with in the role of deputy manager in Yokohama of Highway Tires. It's a global conglomerate business which possesses specialization in tire business. And I had qualified my chartered accountancy examination in 2021. Until then, I am exploring and learning and enriching my technical knowledge and experience. First of all, I would like to give a special thanks to all chairperson, chairman, and all the organizing members of Women and Young Members Empowerment Committee of ICAI for providing me with an opportunity to present on this topic. So today, my topic would be what is the impact of India's 116 leases on specifically on aviation sector. Before beginning forward, I would like all my members or all those who are attending the session to just type on the chat box regarding the profession they are belong, whether they are working in practice or they are in industry or they are having a self-employed business. So this will let me know the wide, diverse audience to which I am catering to. You guys can type on the chat box. So there are no responses yet. Okay. Can you hear me? You guys can hear me? Yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay, so let's start. So first of all, I'll give you a summary of what I'm going to present in the next 1 hour. First, I will cover with you what is the overview of India's 116 and what are exactly are the major differences between India's 116 and the previous India's 17. Second, what exactly will be is the impact of the new standard on financial statements. It will be followed by a practical case study from Intergroup Aviation Limited. It's a leader in airline industry, and you all must be familiar with Indigo Airlines. After that, I am going to present before you an analysis of the standard on key financial statement items and ratios for the first year after the post transition of India's 160. So let's begin. Before going and dipping further into the topic, it's very important to understand that why exactly there was a requirement to introduce a new version of India's 160. As per members, you all must be familiar during the client attestations or whether you're working in industry or any other type of practice that operating leases by nature they were treated to be an off balance sheet instrument. It means they were not being shown as the balance sheet asset of of any corporate house, whichever to whomever we can think about. So this is something which sounds very typical and odd, that companies are using assets for their regular operating activities, but why aren't they showing them as their balance sheet item of the assets? So this particular loophole has been cutted to specifically in India's 160. Also, there were not so coherent set of guidelines and instructions on what exactly to be considered as operating leases and what disclosures to be given. So it was found that there was lack of transparency and disclosures relating to off-balance sheet instruments. By coming of India's 116, we can definitely say that financial statements will better reflect the economic reality of the financial assets and it will be helpful to investors. Analysts will be better able to directly compare the financial statement of those entities who are going for lease model and those who are not opting for lease model. That is, they are borrowing the assets and then they are using in the entity. So investors, stakeholders, government agencies, they can better project the performance of that company. Okay. So I will summarize the overview of whole India's 116. Okay. So India's 116, it came into force on 1st April 2019. This standard is exactly in line with IFRS 16. It replaces the current guidance which is given in India's 17 leases. So what exactly is the changed requirement? Here the leases will have to recognize a lease liability, which is reflecting the future lease payments in a right of use asset for all the lease contracts, which is going to satisfy the definition of lease as per the standard. So one of the most important changes, which I would say, that there are no requirement to treat the same nature of type of leases as a finance lease and show it on the balance sheet and treat it as off balance sheet item, like showing the operating leases as off balance sheet item. Talking about the lessors part, there will be no changes in accounting for lessors. If it's a finance lease, lessor is going to recognize it as a receivable, or if it's an operating lease, lessor will continue to recognize the underlying asset lease income. So this was all. I had just summarized the main differences which is there in India's 116 and leases. So talking about the main differences, so unlike India's 17, we do not have to categorize that whether it's a finance lease or operating lease. So all over leases, which is having a lease term of more than 12 months, will have to be classified as lease, and we have to show lease liability, and correspondingly we also have to show on our balance sheet the ROUS. Talking about India's 17, we used to recognize lease rental on operating leases, usually on straight line basis. But coming to India's 116, our financial statement, our P&L will especially take two types of charges. First is depreciation on ROUSA. Second is interest on lease liability. And coming to disclosure part, definitely it has extensive disclosure requirement. Like lessees will have to disclose what are the lease expenses they are paying, what are the qualitative and quantitative factors on basis of which leasing activities has been taken off. Okay. So going forward, we would say that we'll summarize in a very concise way how our financial statements has actually changed by coming of India's 160. Coming to P&L path, you guys, you must have gone through the financial statement of various entities. First, Most important changes you would have noticed, there was no operating lease rental expense. Instead, we had interest expense on lease liability, which is classified usually under the finance cost. And second, depreciation on ROU asset. There is no requirement of operating lease rent. Coming to cash flow statement part, cash payment for portion of lease liability and other related interest, they are classified within the financing activity. Unlike the process which was followed, where we used to classify as operating cash flow expenses. So you guys, after having a discussion on India's 116, you can understand that definitely this change is going to change the total value of assets and liabilities of corporates. Especially if I talk about the industries, particularly like airlines, telecommunications, hotel, oil and gas, they are going to be impacted the most because of India's 116. It has actually changed the nature of expenses which were and reported in income statement. It's replaced by depreciation charge, which is ultimately impacting the EBITDA of the company. So this was all the technical part about India's 116, which I feel it's important to know about before understanding in detail but how the Indigo Airlines were affected because of sudden announcement of India's 116. Before digging deep into their financial statements, I would like you to know that leasing is a concept which allows the entities to purchase own the assets without actually purchasing the assets for the without making a huge capital expenditure. Entities are able to utilize the assets and run their business. So this type of financing is usually found in airline industry. Coming of India's 116, substantially all types of lease contracts will get covered under the leases. Especially in what happens in airline industry, since we are purchasing aircraft engines from the foreign entities abroad, so we are definitely exposed to US dollar. So they will also be exposed to additional foreign currency volatility in their P&L because they are going to classify them as a lease liability. And definitely this effect is going to be at a quantum level with companies which are having huge amount of operating leases. So definitely this standard is going to have an impact on performance measures. So it's very important for we as a professionals to understand the nitty-gritties of this technical knowledge, and we analyze and present it to our stakeholders in an utmost efficient and effective way. So why did I choose Indigo Airlines? So you all must know that Indigo Airlines is an Indian domestic low-cost airlines which are operating since 2006. It has the highest market share in India with a market share of around 50%. It was also ranked sixth largest airline in India. It is having a fleet of around 279 aircrafts as of August 2022. So, what was exactly the methodology which I had adopted? So I had collected the information from the financial statements of 1819 and 1920 from the annual reports which I found on the company's website. Ratios were used for comparison purposes. Results and analysis were determined and presented. So, so now I'm going to discuss with you how India's 116 is going to impact Indigo Airlines financial statements. Talking particularly of leases, so in Indigo, we found that leased assets usually consist of leased assets for aircraft and equipments, leasehold, and buildings. We'll first study how it has affected the standalone balance sheet of the company after the first time adoption of India's 160. So what has happened, when I compared the 2 years financial statement, I was found with the amazing results, which I would like to share with you. So company has to recognize additional lease liability of around 146K million were recognized. This was because this is as per the requirements of the standard that we have to recognize these liability on all the future commitments which we have taken because of that particular leases. Second, we also have to recognize the asset. Why? Yes, because we are using the asset for the operating use of the company. So around 93K million of right of use assets were recognized in Indigo financial statements. And due to this effect, retained earnings, there were transitional adjustments of around 6K million, which was nothing but the cumulative effect of retrospective application of the standards. So definitely there was a decrease in retained earnings of Indigo Airlines. Now, coming to how it has impacted the standalone profit and loss of the company due to the first time adoption of Ind AS 116. So you all can see from the graph that I earlier in my previous conversation, I had told you that we'll have two types of it in our PNL. First is depreciation and amortization. Second is finance costs. Due to this effect, we could notice that depreciation and amortization expenses, it rose by around 32K million in the financial statements of Indigo. Secondly, there are also applied finance cost of around 12K million, which has been accrued on the outstanding lease liability. Also, since they had the US dollar denominated liabilities, so they also had to revalue their lease liabilities as per the concept of India 16. So they had recognized foreign exchange loss amounting to 15K million. Also, since there is no requirement of expensing out operating lease rental, so they were definitely decreased in around by 43K million due to the recognition of operating leases as ROU assets and correspondingly lease liability. So these are particular factors which we can keep in mind when we are analyzing the effect of industries who are using the lease component. And then we can communicate to stakeholders our analysis of our decisions, which we can understand from their financial statements. So now coming to, this was all which I had discussed with you. First, a standalone balance sheet impact. Second, what is the impact on their P&L? Third, I'm going to discuss to what exactly it has impacted the key financial statement and items and ratios, which usually the investors, analysts, they usually focus on the ratios of any particular financial statement of any listed entity or a particular good company. So talking about, you can see that depreciation has actually increased. Depreciation on ROU asset, you can see it has gone to a higher extent. EBITDA has also increased due to, since we had classified the lease rentals which were earlier going as operating expense, they are now going below EBITDA. Means after EBITDA, we are classifying the depreciation expense. So definitely the company's EBITDA and EBIT will rise. Interest expense has also increased because we have to recognize the interest expense on lease liability. And since we are creating ROU assets, so definitely ROU assets will also rise, isn't it such? So our total assets has also increased by around 68% because of ROU asset. Also, we had increase in current and non-current liability because as per Schedule G requirements, we have to classify them as current and non-current. And also there was increase in operating cash flows because payment of lease liability and interest, which were earlier being considered as operating, they are now being considered as financing activity. Also, depreciation expense being a non-cash item, it will not impact our cash flow statement. So definitely it was increase in operating cash flows. So now the main ratios which I would like to discuss. So after taking into consideration all these effects and adjustments, so definitely my return on equity will be reduced. Why? Because my net loss after tax will increase because I'm giving a double hit on the P&L. My depreciation is also rising. My finance cost is also rising. So definitely my return on equity will increase. Net loss will go up. Second, my debt equity ratio is also going to rise. Why? Because I had increased my lease liabilities. And secondly, my impact on retained earnings is also going to increase. And because my liabilities are increased, my retained earnings are decreased. So ratio is going to rise, debt equity ratio. Third, return on assets will also get impacted because why? Because we're increasing the total assets. So definitely my return on assets, which I had been generating earlier, will also get changed. Second, return on capital employed will also increase because my EBITDA component or EBIT component is going to change because my depreciation is below the item of EBITDA. Secondly, capital employed will also change because I will have long-term liability in the form of leases, which were earlier shown as off-balance sheet item in India 17. So lastly, three more ratios are going to impact. Current ratio is also going to decrease because my lease liability is going to increase, but my assets will remain as under the previous standard. So my current ratio is going to increase. Interest coverage ratio is also going to increase because my EBITDA is increasing, my interest or expenses are increasing, so interest coverage ratio will also increase. Secondly, last asset turnover ratio will decrease because our assets component are increasing, but my sales will remain fixed. So this was all which I wanted to present and you with the case study. I hope you all must have understand the technical nitty-gritties of India's 116 and how practically we can apply on India's 100 and on the financial statement of the listed entities. So I would like to end my session by a concluding remarks. So we have noticed that how it had a huge impact on the key metrics of Indigo Airlines, which they were recognizing a substantially high proportion of off-balance sheet assets in the form of leases, followed by a concluding remarks. So I found that in financial year 1890, my aircraft lease rentals were around $49K million, which was roughly around 17% of total expenses. Aircraft on finance leases, they were being shown as the balance sheet items. So they were around approximately uh, to say 13% of total assets. But coming to India's 116, so my ROU asset is now around 34%. So this is a substantially higher amount. To see the impact the India's 116 has bring to the financial statements. Okay. Coming to financial liabilities, to total liabilities has also increased. It was 31% in 1819. So it has now increased to around 52% of total liabilities. And retained earnings were decreased because of transitional adjustments. Going through overall of all scenarios, so we can say that amendment in India's 116 was actually the need of the hours. We were projecting or reading the finance statements in the wrong ways. Companies were not trying to depict what exactly is the scenario. And it was also found that the analysts, they were also making some root up touch up adjustments while comparing the financial statements. So they were doing a multiplier adjustments when they were trying to compare the financial statements of entities which were following the old practice of operating leases, showing the operating leases off balance sheet commitment. Definitely, this standard has bring about an important change, and we as a professionals, we need to understand the requirements and bring out the transparency in the financial statements to the various stakeholders. Yeah. So I hope you would have a great learning experience. And thank you once again for providing me with an opportunity to present on this topic. And you all were listening very patiently. Thank you for giving your time to me. And thanks. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible? Yeah, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Miku ma'am. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Miku ma'am. It is requested to members kindly share your queries in Q&A section. Yeah, as the session was very informative and very clear, there is no question received yet. On behalf of Women and Young Members Excellence Committee of ICAI, I, CA Kanchan Vidhani, would like to extend my gratitude to our speaker, CA Miku Singhji, for giving her precious time and efforts to enlighten us on the topic impact of India's 116 on aviation sector. Thank you, ma'am. Your knowledge, experience, and your ability to present the subject made the session very interesting. And I also express my sincere gratitude to CA Preeti Savla ma'am, Chairperson of WYNEC, and CA Abhay Chajar sir. Thank you, sir, for your valuable time. Finally, I thanks to all members who joined us for today's session. Thank you, everyone. For next session, I would like to hand over the proceedings to CA Seema Mohanani ji. Seema, over to you. Thank you, everyone, once again. Thank you.
Hello. Am I audible, ma'am? Hello, myself CA Seema Mohanani, welcoming you all at this program. I welcome our special guest, CA Payal ma'am, CA Payal Goyal. Ma'am is going to guide us about importance of life skills. Ma'am had completed her CA, CS, MA in psychology, and she is also certified NLP practitioner. Ma'am is motivational speaker as life coach and fitness enthusiast. She is having an experience with HCL and ITGI. She is also providing training to various corporates, professionals, and to educational institutions. Ma'am is also a co-founder of NGO naming Just for Myself, which is providing free education to children. She is also a director at Als Well Ever, providing holistic well-being by using the principles of psychology and science of human being. Ma'am is also conducting various programs of stress management, life coach at various educational institutions. Thank you, ma'am. I welcome Payal ma'am, Payal Goyal ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Seema, for this wonderful introduction. And I would like to extend my gratitude towards CA Preeti Savla ma'am and Abhay Chajar sir for giving me this opportunity that I can interact with you all. And my greetings to all the moderators here, to the speaker and everyone. So shall I start?
Yes, welcome, ma'am. Please.
Importance of life skills in the professional world. When it comes to technical skill, we all are chartered accountants. No doubt we are perfectly qualified. We have the sound knowledge when it comes to the technical aspects, be it the taxation, be it the accounting standards, anything. But sometimes we feel like that we are ill-equipped when it comes to life skills. And how? Let me start with one scenario. Just a second. Yeah. So there is this young lady, she's a chartered accountant, and recently she has started her career. And she's very good with numbers, taxation, every aspect. And she delivers like very quickly. She's very quick in her work. But when it comes to deliver under strict deadlines, she feels stressed out, burnout. She gets anxious and not able to deliver. Her presentation skills are also not that great. Means whatever good she is in her technical skills, whenever she has to perform under pressure, it just goes away. She's not able to manage her emotions. And there is this another young lady, let's name her B. She also started the career at the same time as A. But and being a chartered accountant again, she's also chartered accountant. Being a chartered accountant again, she's very good with all the technical aspects, but her strong points are her presentation skills. She just add life to the boring data. We all know sometimes how our presentations become so boring with all just the numbers and the data. So she adds life to it through her stories, through innovations, and therefore, whenever any presentation has to be made to the management, she was given the opportunity. And as we know, in finance and in accounts, we have to work in collaboration with so many departments, and how difficult it becomes to get the data from them. The sales team, marketing team, they're not ready to share the data, especially to the finance. We always have that quarrel with them. But due to her marvelous interpersonal skill, she has never encountered that difficulty. In fact, people just found it difficult to say to no to her. On the other hand, to our person A, she often struggle for that. She often encounter conflict with them. So who do you think is going to succeed more early? They both will succeed, but B has an added advantage. And what is that added advantage of? That she is very good in her life skills. So what are those life skills and how they benefit us? Let's just see. Life skills are defined as a group of psychosocial competencies, means psychological as well as our social competencies, and interpersonal skills, how we are communicating and interacting with each other, that help people make informed decisions, solve the problems, think critically and creatively, communicate effectively, build healthy relationships, empathize with others, and cope with and manage lives in healthy and productive manner. In short, we can say that life skills are tools to deal with challenges, manage our emotions more effectively, take informed decisions, and realize our true potential so that we can work towards our goal. And I read somewhere, and it has been said also, that good chartered accountant is one who knows the income tax law very well. But a great chartered accountant is one who knows the income tax officer very well, and there comes our life skills handy. So in today's session, I'm going to cover these 10, as there is a very less time, limited time. So I'll touch upon all these points. And as a Seema has shared that I have done my psychology also. So in few of the places, I will share some of the psychological techniques or aspects also, how you can inculcate these life skills within you. And though I have never delivered like this, it's always a communicative, two-way we do it, we share, we discuss. So let's see how it goes. But I just hope that you will find it valuable. And whatever activities or whatever I'll just say, you will try to apply that. So let's start with first the effective communication. We all know communication is the key, and all the time we interact, we communicate with each other. Right now also, I'm communicating to you either one way or two way. We are always communicating, be it in a verbal way or in a non-verbal manner. But how effectively we are communicating our message, that makes the difference. Whether we are in practice or in job, always we are having that communication with other person. Now, suppose you are in a job and your management has given you an opportunity or given you a responsibility that just make it out whether a certain product we are going to buy it or we are going to make it in-house. Tell us, give your opinion. So you just can't go with any random data over there and present something. No, you will go with all the facts and figures with a clear information. It should be in a concise manner. आप ऐसे कुछ भी story नहीं सुनाने लगोगे. It will be in a concise way with a complete information. And if you are going to favor that, okay, I'll buy this, I'll recommend buying, or I'll recommend making in-house, whatever it is, it should be with all the rational, all the pros and cons of that, and then with the rational why I am suggesting one thing. And if among the team anyone opposed to your proposal, they have some other viewpoint, then you definitely will have a bit of argument. You will have a bit of disagreement. We often feel that. But at that time also, we have to be courteous, right? We'll not start fighting over there. We will oppose them. We will have that debate, but in a courteous manner. So always remember, whenever we are having a communication, follow these 5 C principles: clear, concise, complete, courteous, and always present the correct information. When I'm talking about clear, now suppose you have asked your team that I want this certain information, certain data by weekend. Now, what do you mean by weekend? Is it Friday? Is it Saturday? Is it Sunday? And even if you have decided on the day, then at 5 p.m., by 2 p.m., by 9 a.m., when do you need it? So always be clear with your communication. As I said, concise. Yes, sometimes we do add stories to make the presentation become lively. But to the point, ऐसे नहीं सारे दुनिया का डेटा उठा के उधर डाल दिया. Complete. Always be courteous and present the correct information. And when I am saying correct, it doesn't mean correct does not only mean with the numbers, but as it also means grammatically correct information. It should be grammatically correct. When we are speaking, sometimes a bit of here and there, grammar, it's okay. But when you are writing, when you are making a presentation, that too to the top management, remember that it should be grammatically correct. There are various tools available these days like Grammarly and all are free, so we can use them and present the correct information. So always follow this 5C rule for the effective communication. Second life skill for professional development is resilience. Resilience means bouncing back from your failure, from your setbacks. And I just say ki it's in our DNA, right? We as a chartered accountant are like Jiti Jakti Murti of resilience. We fail, then we cry for some time, but we don't just stop there. We again come up with more preparations, again give the exam, and then and only then we have this one of the most prestigious prefix as CA in front of our name, isn't it? So we all are chartered accountants. It means we all are resilient. Its ability to resist or bounce back like a rubber ball. It is not just we have dropped something and it has broken. No, it will come from its adverse point. And being resilient also does not mean ignoring your feelings. It is recognizing we all feel bad. Even if we are resilient, we were resilient when we were doing our chartered accountancy course, but what happens when we are in work, when we are in job, we are not getting the necessary recognition. We again feel down. We feel bad. What's the need to do? But recognize those feelings. We all feel bad. It's okay. Feel bad, recognize it, and again come with the double impact. And if you don't, some people are born resilient, but if you are not resilient, there are various tools and techniques by which you can develop this skill. Here I am going to share you one, the neuro-linguistic programming NLP technique. This is my favorite. It talks about this circle of excellence. It says it's not that, okay, you have failed in one of the life instances, but it does not mean that you were failure all your life, right? There must be some success, some achievements of yours. And since it is in the CA forum, we all are chartered accountants. So clearing our CA exam in itself is a like certificate of excellence. So if you are feeling down at any point of time in your profession, in your workplace, in your professional career, just close your eyes and think of all your achievements. What have you have achieved till now? Your CA, if you're doing some other course, that 10th, 12th K marks. And apart from this professional excellence, there must be many other things also which you wanted to do and you have achieved that. Think of that and make that circle around you. In fact, when we have this two-way communication, we have these interactive sessions, then we make this circle of excellence. In fact, I would like to share. This is the way that I have made. So I will just recommend you all to make these circles, write your achievement in a beautiful, colorful way, decorate it and paste it somewhere near your workstation, near your bed, where you can see it all the time and you're always surrounded with the positivity. It is always empowering you to come out from your lowest point. Yes, I have achieved that. I can achieve this too. It's okay. Failure is a part of life. Problem solving. We all encounter problem in our day-to-day lives, as well as in a daily life, as well as the workplace. And it is not the severity of the problem that makes the difference. It is how effectively and how efficiently you solve the problem that makes the impact. So before I go further, let me just share one problem with you. Here, this is a square, and under this, there are 6 boxes, 2 with A, 2B, and 2C. Now, if I ask you, okay, you have to join A to A, B to B, and C to C in such a way that the lines will not cross each other. Lines cannot cross, they cannot overlap, as well uh, as you cannot go out of the box. So I'm just taking a pause here for 5 to 10 seconds, and you just think, can you join all these? Hopefully you must be thinking of joining, how to join it. Wish I could have seen your answers. So when we say to join, what immediately comes to our mind? We always think of drawing the straight line, right? And the moment we draw on the straight line, suppose from here, C to C, what is going to happen? See, we always think of, okay, it will be a straight line. But we never think there could be other path also. Has anyone of you thought that this could be the way to do it, right? So this is called a creative thinking. Creatively, in some other manner, we join this. And after you have joined C, by not taking the straight path, now you know that, yes, you can join B too as well as A also. So these are certain steps of problem solving, which is information processing. In our current example, we have to process all the information. Okay, there is a box given, a square given, in which there are the boxes, and how we have to join them. That's called the critical thinking, looking at all the aspects. No, I cannot go outside the box. I cannot even cross the ABC boxes. The lines cannot overlap each other. And after that, thinking creatively. What's the point in thinking what all other persons are also doing, also thinking in the same way? If we want to stand out, we have to think in some creative manner. So think creatively. And after that, you have done the another important point, which most of the time we lack, is the decision making. We always seek approval of others. Why? When you have done till creativity, you have achieved to a conclusion. Equip yourself that you can even, you feel that you can make the decisions also. Now, whatever I have said here, information processing, critical thinking, creativity, decision making, these all are an skill in themselves, which can be discussed and learned in a session of more than 1 to 2 hours. So like we can spend one hour in all of these and learn. But after you have taken the decision, then problem is solved. This is how that when you are solving problem in a creative way, in a different way, believe me, you are going to be an invaluable asset, not only for your team, but also for your organization. And I can say we are a chartered accountant, like we can solve the problems. Even our client does not know that they exist. They have these problems in a way that they cannot even understand. So it's just that we have got this talent. Persuasion, another very important skill which we encounter in our daily life also. It is a convincing someone else to carry out an action or making them agree to us. Like in a very simple example, if we are asking our kids, okay, clean your room, complete your homework, any instruction, we are convincing them in a way, we are persuading them. In a similar way, when we go to malls for shopping, or whenever we are going out, all the hoardings we are seeing, the advertisements we are seeing, what is that? That is also persuasion. They are persuading us to buy their products or services. So if we have learned this art of persuasion, we can use it to our benefit at the time of interviews, salary negotiations, at the time of appraisals, and these are some other places where we can use the persuasion technique. In meetings to convince others with our idea, contracts and negotiations, motivating our team, and gaining the promotion. Now, some are really very good at persuading, at art of persuading. It's called an art actually, because it's an art how you can convince others. So some people are really very good at it, but some are not. But once again, we can learn it. And here I am going to share with you psychological techniques, how this, even the marketing guys use this, marketing people use this technique. One is the foot in the door technique. What it says ki you ask someone for a small favor. Okay, can you do this for me? And they will oblige, they will do, okay, this is just a small thing I can do. They will do it. Again, he will ask for another a bit bigger favor, and then another favor. Like this, by in steps, you are asking the favor, and the other person will oblige to it. Because psychologically, what happens is when you have done good to other in one time in two instances, then you also feel like that वो एक philanthropy वाली feeling आ जाती है. Yes, we are helping someone. It's okay. So we keep on doing this. And इसका क्लासिक एग्जाम्पल जो अपना हिंदी में द मुहावरा गोज इज उंगली पकड़ के हाथ पकड़ाना, राइट? So here it goes, and the example here, the classic example, what is coming to my mind is when we see these days there are a lot of online courses on various skills. We see that people are selling those courses. So what happens is first they do the free webinar, right? It is free. They're not charging anything. Once you have enrolled for that, you have attended that webinar, then they will sell it for some 99 or 199 or 299 rupees. Once you have done that also, then comes there the final one, which they actually wanted to sell to you. Once you have comfortable up to paying some nominal amount, then they will come in actual selling, which they wanted to sell. And how you can use it in your work, like if someone's presentation skills से PPT बहुत अच्छा बनाता है, you will say, यार, to your colleague, can you just teach me this? Okay, that person will teach you. Okay, I will teach you. He'll start teaching you. Then say, I'm finding difficulty in making these 2 slides. Can you do this for me? Oh yeah, I can do it. Your colleague will agree to it. Now you will ask, already you are spending so much time. I am also sitting. Why not? You only make my full PPT. So ungli pakadai aur uska pura haath pakad liya. Okay, that person is making the full PPT for you. This is put in the door technique. Many marketing people use this one. And the other is door in the face. It starts with making exorbitant demand, which you know is going to be denied. It's not going to be accepted. Like you have asked your friend, can you lend me 1 lakh rupees? And your friend will say, no, I can't. Sorry, it's really difficult for me to give you 1 lakh. Then you say, oh, I really needed it. But then is it possible to give me 10,000? I'll arrange for others. I'll see how I can arrange. So what will happen? The person denying for the big demand will feel guilty. Oh, I have said no to him. Okay, 1 lakh nahi diya. Let me just give 10,000. What will happen if I'll give 10,000? So in that way, you will feel guilty. And out of that guilt feeling, you will oblige to their small request. Here again, the example is these webinars. What some people do towards the end of their webinar, what they do, they will present something and they will say, the full value of this is 1 lakh rupees. But because you have attended this, I will give you for 50,000. No, not for 50,000. I am giving you at 75% discount. Okay, it is going to be at 25,000. But since you have attended this, I am going to give you for 10,000. And you will feel like, okay, 1 lakh ki cheez mujhe 10,000 mil rahi hai, let me just grab it. This is door in the face. And at your workplace, you might go to your boss and ask if there is something, some important ABC function at home. Can you grant me 1 month leave? And your boss will say, what? 1 month? Just do one thing. Give your resignation and then you can take the leave. So I'll say, okay, if you're not giving me 1 month leave, can you grant at least a week's holiday? And now your boss will feel, okay, 1 month mana kiya, let's give him a week's. So we can arrange, we can manage. Okay, chalo, 1 week ka diya. So in this way, you can make use of these techniques for your own benefit, but be cautious that someone from your team are not using these techniques on you too. Then it's agility. Agility is how you adapt to the changing environment. Today, we are living in an environment which is so quickly changing. And are we adapting to that? If we will not adapt, it will become difficult for us to survive. When I cleared my CA in 2005, it was mostly the traditional practice which was there. But over the period of this 15 to 18 years, lot has changed. So many avenues have come up. Practice is no longer just the traditional one. There are so many opportunities. There are so many opportunities available. But only those persons will grow who will adapt to these changes. Like for example, if after post GST, what I have seen is that there are many various firms, various CA firms who have adopted the technology. Shall I stop?
Hello, Payal.
Hello.
This is Preeti Saula, and I would like to address all of you.
Okay. Shall I stop sharing, ma'am?
Yeah. Please, for
Okay.
2 minutes.
Okay, ma'am.
So, hello everyone, and good evening to all of you, and welcome all of you. So, Shanu, how many participants are there right now? And I think welcome all of you, and this is I am here to address all of you as a chairperson of Women and Young Members Excellence Committee, and happy to share with all of you that we have today 50th session. And the speakers are also excellent, and every week, every Wednesday 4 to 6, this is the sessions going on, and this is our endeavor to serve the best to all of you. Today only we had a small group meeting, and we are starting with a series, Unleash Your Potentials, where the women who want to start their practice or who were in practice, taken a break and wants to come back. So we are starting the series where all the practical training will happen on all the topics, on all the areas of interest, such as income tax, GST, international tax, FEMA, India's audit, company law, and all, so that this, along with all the soft skills, this will be the practical learning things. So we are putting a lot of thrust on the technology also. So with the technology, how to excel in our practice. So keep your timings, like right now we are having every Wednesday 4 to 6. Then we, and for Friday also we are having Youth Excellence Symposium 4 to 6, and this will be from 1st May. This will be Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday 4 to 6. So engage all your evenings on all your weekdays with Women and Young Members Excellence Committee of ICAI. This series will have around maybe 20 sessions, and you can pick and choose the areas of your interest. If you want to excel and develop your skills in tax, you can pick up that. Audit, you can pick up that. But however, I have seen that members are doing audit as well as tax. We'll have some things on ethics, so that while doing the practice, all the things are required, along with the quality learnings, the quality practice, and the ethics also. So these are the broad criteria which we are coming up with all of you. So please keep your, and this will be in the May, so that you are all are little bit available to learn and upgrade your skills. It is our endeavor to serve the best. Once again, I would like to share with all of you that if you have any suggestion, please feel free to connect with us. We want you all to excel in your areas of your domain and reach to the highest potentials of your practice. With these words, once again, I give my appreciation to the speakers and the moderators. I can see on the screen Payal Goyal, Seema Monani, the Kanchan, Vidhani, Pooja Soni, and Shobhna Ruchlani. So entire team of my WIMEC, Shanu, Ruchi, Jaya, and all my beautiful, intelligent participants, the audience. With these words, I would like to interact with you all on every Wednesday, every Friday with our series on Sky High Symposium, Youth Excellence Symposium, and now Unleash Your Potential. Once again, giving back the charge to Payal to take the session further. If you have anything, please feel free to connect. Yeah, Payal.
Hopefully, we all are going to benefit out of this. This is really a wonderful initiative, ma'am. because it is not only in the technical side. Actually, we are learning to our presentation skills, our communication skills. It is opening many endeavors.
Yeah, and this is our endeavor actually to give the platform to our women members
Yes,
to present their skills, to write their, because when presentation also you will put lot of efforts if you want to share, if you want to speak, and that is what we are doing. So this is a platform. Use this platform as far as possible to upgrade, and your confidence level will also increase. You will be more confident when you are interacting with your clients also.
Absolutely.
So very soon we'll also come out with something physical also. All are waiting for one large, conference, physical mode also. Some RRC and a lot of stuff on physical mode also. So yeah, this is what we look forward.
So shall I continue?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So we're talking about the agility. How to be agility is adaptability. How to adapt. Like if we are not be adaptable, it becomes very difficult for us to survive. As I was giving the example of a practice, like post GST, what has happened? We've seen that there are many firms who have not adapted to the technologies. They suffer while having this 2A reconciliation, while there are many firms who have adopted the technology to have that. And they are successful, they are growing. So we cannot be adamant that no, we are going to do the way I was doing. We have to change with the with our surroundings, with our environment. Even Charles Darwin, he was born in England in 1809. In his famous theory of evolution and adaptability, he has said that species do change along with time. They have the potential to change, but it is not the strongest one that survive. It is the one who is able to adapt and adjust to the changing environment will survive. In fact, we have heard initially it was IQ, intelligent question everyone used to talk about. Later, it comes EQ, emotional question, that you should be high on emotional question to be a successful individual. But now it is AQ, your adaptable question, how adaptable you are to the surroundings. And believe me, the more adaptable you are, you won't only survive, you will thrive. And along with that goes forward thinking. Thinking one or two step ahead of your current situation. It is not the wait and watch situation. It is thinking ahead, planning whatever data available to you have. Just think how you can make use of it in the future. It should be proactive instead of reactive, taking a 360-degree view of all the informations that we have. These days, we have so much of information available. We already know, okay, we get the hint through the news and everything. Interest rate is going to change. Inflation is hitting, market is going up or down, whatever it is. So everything related to our industry, how it is going to impact us. We need to think that beforehand to stand out. Else we are going to lend where everyone else is lending. Then it is empathy, one of the very important tool in personal life as well as the professional life too. It is the capacity to understand, to reciprocate the feelings of others. We all come from different backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds. We have different knowledge, different experience. So instead of just judging other on the basis of their one or two act, it's not ethical, I will say. And to in a very simple terms, if I just have to explain empathy, then I will say जैसे सास भी कभी बहू थी, ऐसे ही हर सीए भी कभी एक आर्टिकल था और हर एक मैनेजर भी कभी एक एग्जीक्यूटिव था. So just think from that perspective. And empathy is like a water. Like water is a universal solvent. Whatever soluble substance you put in the water, it dissolves with it. Similarly, with empathy, whatever negative feeling, negative experience you are having from the situation, if you become empathetic towards that, all your problems will dissolve with empathy. And in leadership, it is very important. So there are certain steps to have empathic leadership when you are just not judging. You are not judging someone, not reaching to the negative conclusions. Practice active listening. It is not always about listening, it is active listening. Half of the time, we are only hearing, not listening. There is a big difference between the two words. Hearing is okay, ऐसे ऊपर ऊपर से सुन के निकाल दिया. Listening is when you are paying attention to this. Again, active listening. How you can have active listening? We have the whole lot of activities, whole lot of charts, and that how you can be an active listener. But in to be reach on the top of the hierarchy, or if you are there, then so that you'll be loved by your team would love to work for you. Practice active listening so that you can get a better perspective, validate others, and show interest in your employees' lives. Everyone likes to be heard, to be listened. When your employees feel, when your team member feels that your team leader is listening to their problem, he has the genuine interest in their lives, in their problems, you will not have to ask to them to work for you. They themselves will work for you. They themselves would like to work in your team. And then you will see the success, not only your team success, your organization success. Self-esteem. Most of the time, it is not about how others see us. It is about how we are seeing us. What is our values? What are our vision, our perception of ourselves? In psychology, again, this is explained in a psychology in a very perfect way by his name is Rogers, Mr. Roger, Carl Roger. He is a psychologist, and he said that every person has two self. One is self-image, how we at present are, and everyone has the ideal self. Okay, I want to be like this. We all have that image. We want to be like this. Now, suppose if I am here and I want to be like this, there is incongruence, means difference. The more the difference between the two, where I am and where I want to reach, the lower my self-esteem will be. But if both are in congruence, this is my ideal self and this is what I am. Yes, both are very much closer. My self-esteem will be high. In a similar way, this concept can be explained for the professional self-esteem, because for a growth in our career, professional self-esteem matters a lot. But here, it's not only about how we see ourselves, how we see our work, the third person's perspective also get involved. Now, suppose you have recently started your career, you are on ladder 1, but your aim is either of these two ladder of the top. Maybe you want to be the CFO or head of your department. There you want to be. So one difference is you might feel that you are not working good enough to reach through that height. That is your perspective. And the other is your management perspective. They might think that your capability is only up to reach ladder 3. They don't see you above that. And where it comes, you might feel like, oh, what's the point of working when I am not getting recognized for my work? What's the point of doing anything when my seniors only think I cannot grow from here? So what happens at the time? We have a low self-esteem. We are criticizing others. Instead, what we should be doing, we should go take their constructive feedback, discuss with them, have an open communication, effective communication using the 5 C's. Have it clear. Tell your clear vision. I want to reach there. Help me. Just tell me how I can reach. Grow yourself. Learn yourself. Keep on learning. Keep on improving yourself in technical as well as non-technical side also. Because the more you grow in the corporate ladder, it is less the technical knowledge you need, because there is the whole team working for you. But the more you should be good in the other life skills and soft skills. But what happens in most of the cases in these scenarios, we stop working for ourselves. We think it is not getting appreciated. It is not, our work is not getting the due credibility. Why to work? No, that is the mistake we do. And that's the reason we are not able to grow also. Keep on working, keep on seeing the ways, and always, always have the communication if you want to grow. Self-regulation is about how well you regulate your behaviors as well as your emotions in certain unforeseen, unpredictable negative situation. The better you are able to regulate your behavior, your emotions, there are high chances of your growth. That is must for your growth. Now, suppose if we all know that working out in a gym, exercising is very important, but how many of us do? But the person who, irrespective of liking it, daily goes to gym, daily working out, he's having a behavior self-regulation. In a similar way, we encounter in a daily basis so many stress, anxiety, so many negative feelings. But we should see that these emotions are in our control. We are not just going with these emotions. Let not the emotions control us, but we should be controlling our emotions. If so, what happens if there is a stress? Like we took the example of person A, she is under stress. A strict deadline mein work karna hai, not able to deliver. But instead, think, understand. First of all, understand. Never neglect your emotions. What we do, we ignore them. Don't ignore them. Accept them. Make them your friend, and see how I am feeling. Okay, in this situation, I feel like that. So, what is the next thing that I can do? Make your emotions work for you, and then you can perform better at your workplace, at your home, everywhere. Interpersonal skills. We all know how important this is. It is similar to your communication skill with the right attitude. Now, suppose a person has a very fantastic communication, but he's always critical of others, always criticizing, always bad mouthing. What is going to happen? No one is going to like, no one will recommend him or her for the promotions, for appraisals. So, great communication skills coupled with attitude, what makes perfect interpersonal skills. And it is must to have that, because we don't work in isolation. We have to work in the social environment. We have to connect to many departments within our organizations, outside our organizations, even in our personal life. A person with the right attitude only can grow. Work-life integration. Gone are the days when we used to talk about work-life balance. Work-life balance was more about, we used to think earlier, okay, 9 to 5, I have done my office job. After 5, I'm not going to take any office work. I will just spend all my family time with the family, and no work. And when at work, no house responsibilities. But once again, thanks to technology, thanks to WhatsApp, we are always connected. Those blue ticks makes you always available. You have to be available over there. It is now more about integrating everything. Your home, your family, your career, your health. You cannot ignore your health, your community. We are living in a community. So obviously we have to look for that too. We have to take out time for our community also. And the better we are at integration, the better it is for in a more effective way, we'll be able to survive. uh, Now when we are talking about like how to have that integration, it is more about the prioritizing. Sometimes it happens that yes, there is more work at office when there are the return filings ka time hai, it is the deadlines are approaching, we spend endless days and nights at home. And after that, once it's done, deadline has crossed, we spend more at that works. Sorry, I think I said at home. At the time, we spend more time at work. 24 cross 7, most of the time we are available at work, filing the returns and meeting the deadlines. But once that deadline has passed, now we are at home, spending more time over there with family, relaxing. So integration is more about prioritizing. We have seen so many times now, everything is like virtually we are doing it. Sitting in our office, we are attending our child's PTM virtually, right? We are arranging for their extracurricular classes. And majorly here are young chartered accountants also, but majorly there are women. So we all know when we came home, even while cooking dinner or while having the time with our family, making our child study, we reply to our office work mails also. And along with that, we have to take care of our health also, as well as community too. For that, the important point is whether we love our work or no. Believe me, if you don't love your work, if you don't love what you are doing, no matter you are spending 2 hours at work or 5 hours at work, you are not at all going to satisfy. So evaluate. If you are always feeling irritated, you are feeling no, I'm not going to make it out. At that time, sit and evaluate. Are you liking what you are doing? If no, then just think over it. Don't let the stress your well-being affect by the work. So these are the life skills that I just touched upon. Given the opportunity, I would really like to talk about all this, because once we have applied, which we have inculcated these life skills within ourselves, it's not that we will grow in our corporate world, in our professional world. We will be able to live our life in a more holistic way. So this is me. If you have any questions, and in the end, I would also like to say, since I have done psychology too, sometimes it happens. It's not anything that we want the solution of any problem. We just feel like we want to vent it out. We want to vent out our feelings. Someone is there to listen to me. So I want you all that if any one of you have any problem, you want to share your concerns, you can drop a mail to me here. It is positivepulse@gmail.com. And I'll try to connect to you. Not try, I'll definitely connect to you, but I have not given my mobile number, because then it becomes very difficult to manage. So just drop me a mail, me or my team will contact, and we will just connect. We will connect and you can vent out without judgment, because many a times it happens. We want someone to listen to us without judgment, without coming to any conclusions. So this is it. I hope I've been added to add value to your 35 minutes, whatever time I took. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Hi, Payal. Yes, that was very nice and informative. And I'm here to take questions. But the presentation was so self-explanatory that we don't have many questions. But I really am curious to ask you one question.
Yeah, sure.
That we all work, right? And we all
Yes.
face some stress in office. And it's sometimes people, it's work, it can be anything.
Absolutely.
Once you're back to your own personal life, how do you disconnect? Because the mind keeps wandering, right?
That's
And
what
despite so
don't
how-
disconnect. I'm sorry, I'm just saying in between. The moment you said disconnect, no, it is not at all about disconnecting. You can't disconnect. Right?
Okay.
So it's like even after you are coming, might be your boss will send you some message, or you had a bad day at work. We are like humans, full of emotions. There is
Right.
no on and off switch. It is, we have to learn to regulate ourselves, how we can do, and that can happen over time. So for that, I usually suggest, when we are under stress, I usually suggest progressive muscle relaxation exercises.
Okay.
And it is not going to happen in a day. Like, we have not become CA in a day. Right. So everything has steps, everything takes certain time. But progressive muscle relaxation, just you will find many of these videos in YouTube. You can start practicing that. What happens with that? You will start feeling, okay, when I am getting stressed. And when you are getting stressed, you know beforehand, you can work on it.
Okay.
So that's what I'll say. And never think of it कि you can disconnect. अगर घर पे कोई प्रॉब्लम है, you are going to carry it with you in your office. And अगर ऑफिस में कोई प्रॉब्लम है, you are going to carry it at your home. You just have to learn to manage those.
Okay, so it's progressive muscle
Relaxation. Yes, where we tighten our muscles and then loose them.
Okay. Wow. Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Okay, so I also would like to give a vote of thanks. Thank you very much on behalf of the community. I would extend heartfelt gratitude to our speakers, Meeku Singh and CA Payal Goyal, for your invaluable time and knowledge, and also responding to our queries patiently. Sincere thanks to our chairperson and vice chairperson, CA Preeti Savla and CA Abhay Chade, respectively. Because of their strong support and guidance, we can achieve our goals and excel, with the goals of the community, and excel in our own personal goals and things we want to do. A wide round of applause to the participants for making their time available with us today. And finally, to all the coordinators, CH Shobna, Kanchan, Seema, and myself, that we could contribute to and coordinate this event. Thank you to one. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Great.
All
Okay,
right,
fine.
Payal, can
Yes.
I ask you, ma'am? Can I ask you
Yeah,
one
yeah,
question?
yeah. Sure.
Yeah. What made you to choose psychology, being a chartered accountant? I mean, it's
Yes, sure. I would love to answer this. This is my favorite question, actually. Even sometimes I do self introspection also, ki why I chosen this. So what happened? I was in a corporate. For me, practice from day one, I was sure that I'm not going to go into practice. So I was into this corporate job. I worked with IFCO Tokyo. I worked with HCL, and in between, I got married. Then I delivered my twins actually, and I had lot of complications. So I had to leave my job, and for 2 years I was totally with them.
okay.
Post that, when I thought, ki now what to start, how to start, I got some part-time offers also, but I was not that much interested again, because when I am going for work, even for part-time, I have to leave my kids at some daycare or somewhere, because there's no support from as such family side that anyone can take care of them. So and I don't wanted to leave them. So I thought, okay, let me just try in GMCS also as a trainer, but there all the vacancies were full, and over the period I realized that this is what I like actually. Yes, and I was into depression also. It was
Oh,
postpartum depression. So I start learning. I did yoga, meditation. I started learning in this field, why it happened, how it is. And in the meanwhile, this pandemic happened, lockdown happened. So I was evaluating what to do. So I started my YouTube channel also. And at that time, I thought, ki, why anyone will listen to me? If I'm
mhm.
just saying anything, why anyone is going to listen to me? So I thought, let me just have certain formal education in the field. So
Okay.
I did this, my MA psychology too. And that's how it's working, and
That's
I'm loving it.
Great,
very
great. It's
inspiring.
very inspiring,
Yeah, I
truly.
agree.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am.
My pleasure.
Great.
Thank you, Payal ma'am.
Yes, Seema, thank you so much. It's really a wonderful platform. Actually, when I cleared, I was really very shy, very camera shy. I find it very difficult to communicate. But this endeavor of Institute of Chartered Accountant is really wonderful. It's giving opportunity to young talents that come out and speak.
Yes,
This is
thank you
where
so
I
much,
feel
Payal.
like we lack, right?
Your knowledge is very much helpful for us. Definitely in future, we are going to learn lots of from this life skills. You are having wonderful tips about how to manage office, personal life, and all this. And at this era, we really need to balance our work life and personal life.
True.
And definitely, thank you for your valuable time and your good knowledge tips. Thank you so much, ma'am.
My pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. Are we done with it?
Abhay sir,
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. We wind up the session.
thank you
Thank you.
so much, everyone.
Okay.
Have a good day, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, the session is done, I guess. Yeah. Yeah.